Hey there, welcome to the Focus Podcast with Taralee. This is the place where we talk about real life, real relationships, and how to grow through it all. If you're looking for simple mindset shifts, better communication, and deeper connections, you're in the right spot. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Focus Podcast. I'm Taralee, and today I want to talk about something that I believe sits underneath so many of the struggles that couples bring into coaching. Most people think that they're fighting about communication or intimacy or parenting or money, and all of those things may absolutely be causing conflict. But after working with so many individuals and couples in marriage crisis, I've noticed something deeper. A lot of times they're not just reacting to each other, they're protecting themselves from each other. And once you see that, you begin seeing the entire marriage differently. And before we get into this, I want to invite you to something that I've been working on. On Monday, August 24th at 1 p.m. Eastern, I'm holding a live online call for people who are trying to understand what is happening in their marriage and what they can actually do next. And if you're listening to this episode and thinking, this is us, I really want you to be there. You can come alone, you can come with your spouse, you don't have to talk or share your story, you can simply just come and listen. I'll also be sharing more about a brand new group coaching experience that I'm opening beginning in September. I'm intentionally not giving you every detail here because I want to talk with you about it on the call and explain who this is for and how it will work and why I'm creating it. You can register through the link in the show notes. Okay, now let's talk about protection. Think about this for a moment. When someone criticizes their spouse, what if criticism isn't actually the goal? What if they're protecting themselves from disappointment? What if they aren't trying to be cold? What if they're protecting themselves from feeling like they'll never get it right? What if someone gets angry? What if anger feels safer than just saying, I'm scared? When someone becomes incredibly controlling, what if control is their attempt to protect themselves from uncertainty? When someone says, I don't care anymore, what if caring has simply become too painful? We are very quick to judge behavior, and sometimes behavior absolutely needs to change. Understanding why someone does something does not mean we excuse unhealthy behavior, but I want us to become curious about what the behavior is trying to accomplish. Because most protective behaviors have a purpose. Your brain is trying to help you. It's saying, that hurt. Don't let that happen again. And so it creates a strategy. Maybe your strategy is withdrawal, or maybe it's perfectionism. Maybe it's criticism. Maybe it's people-pleasing. Maybe it's controlling or over-explaining. Maybe it's constantly checking your spouse's mood to figure out if everything's okay. Maybe it's becoming so independent that eventually you don't need your spouse for anything at all. And here's where it gets interesting. The strategy may actually work. It may protect you from something, but there's usually a cost. If I stop sharing how I really feel, I may protect myself from having my feelings dismissed. But now my spouse doesn't know me. If I criticize you before you can disappoint me, maybe I feel less vulnerable, but now you feel attacked. If I emotionally shut down during conflict, I may protect myself from overwhelm, but now you experience me as distant. If I never ask you for anything, I can't be rejected. But I also can't experience the closeness that comes from letting myself need another human being. And this is one of the greatest paradoxes I see in marriage. The things we do to keep ourselves from getting hurt often create the very disconnection we're afraid of. That doesn't make us broken, it makes us human. But if we don't recognize the pattern, it can quietly take over the relationship. I want to give you another concept. Every marriage has two conversations happening at the same time. There's the conversation we can hear, and there's the conversation underneath it. One spouse says, I need to talk, and the other person hears, I'm about to be criticized. One spouse says, I really miss you. The other person hears, I'm failing again. One spouse says, why don't you tell me what you're feeling? The other hears, whatever I say will be wrong. One spouse gets quiet. The other person's nervous system says, they're leaving me. So they start pursuing. They ask more questions. They send another text. They try harder to get reassurance. And the other person experiences that pursuit as pressure. So now their nervous system says, I need space. And then they withdraw even more. Now the first person thinks, see, I knew they were pulling away. And the second person thinks, see, I knew I couldn't breathe. Both people have just collected evidence that their protection was necessary. That is how a cycle gets created. And this is one of the things I really want people to understand about marriage coaching. We are not simply trying to teach you how to say nicer words to each other. Communication skills really do matter, but communication tools are very hard to use when your entire nervous system believes you are under attack. You can learn the greatest communication technique in the world. You can memorize the script. You can use the I feel statements. You can follow the formula perfectly. But when your brain is saying brace yourself, or defend yourself, or get away, or if it's telling you fix this, don't let them hurt you again, that script can disappear really quickly. This is why I talk so much about the idea that safety comes before strategy. Before connection can deepen, we have to understand what keeps making connection feel unsafe. And honestly, this is one of the reasons I'm so excited about the group coaching program that I'm opening in September, because sometimes you need more than just information. You need to watch these patterns get unpacked in real life. You need to hear someone bring a situation that sounds completely different from yours and suddenly realize, wait, that's exactly what I do. Or that's exactly what happens between me and my spouse. There is something incredibly powerful about watching someone else be coached. You begin to see your own thinking much more clearly. And in the group I'm creating, you'll be able to do both. You can bring something you want coaching on, or you can simply come and learn. There's no requirement that you show up and tell everybody your story. And you don't have to convince your spouse to come with you before you can start learning. I'll explain much more about it on the August 24th live call, so if this sounds like something you might need, make sure you're registered. The link is in the show notes. Now let me give you the question I want you to practice this week. Most couples ask who is right, or who is wrong, or who started it, who needs to apologize, whose version of this is accurate. And I want you to try something different. I want you to ask, what am I protecting right now? Not what is my spouse doing wrong. Start with you. What am I protecting? Am I protecting myself from rejection or from disappointment, from feeling stupid, from feeling controlled? Am I protecting myself from feeling like I'm not enough, or feeling abandoned, or feeling unimportant, or feeling vulnerable? And once you identify it, ask yourself a second question. What would moving toward connection look like instead? Notice that I didn't say, what would fixing my marriage look like? That's too big. I'm talking about this moment. What would one move toward connection look like? Maybe instead of saying, you never listened to me, you say, I think I'm getting really defensive because this matters more to me than I want to admit. Maybe instead of chasing your spouse for reassurance, you regulate yourself first. Maybe instead of disappearing emotionally, you say, I'm overwhelmed right now, but I don't want to disconnect from you. Give me a few minutes and let's come back to this. Maybe instead of immediately defending yourself, you become curious. What did you hear me say? It might be a tiny shift, and that's okay. Marriages usually aren't transformed in one giant conversation. They change through many small moments where somebody chooses something different. And if you're listening and thinking, that sounds good, but I don't know how to do that in my marriage, that's exactly why I want you on the call next Monday. You don't have to figure it all out before you come. In fact, I don't want you waiting until you have it figured out. Come because you don't. Come because you're exhausted from trying to solve the same problem. Come because you've been listening to podcasts and reading the books and scrolling through marriage content and you understand a lot intellectually, but when your spouse walks into the room and says that one thing, all of it disappears. That's where coaching is different. We take the actual situation, the text message, the argument, the fear, the thought that you can't stop thinking, and we work with that. That's the kind of work I want to make more accessible through this new group beginning in September. And the people who join me on August 24th, along with the people in my private email community, are going to be the first to hear exactly what I'm opening and how to become a part of it. So if there's even a part of you that's curious, register for this call. You don't have to make a decision about anything. Just come and learn. So this week, I want you to notice your protection. Not judge it, just notice it. Ask yourself, what am I protecting? And then, What would one move toward connection look like here? Because when you can begin recognizing the pattern instead of simply reacting from inside of it, you create a little bit of space. And in that space, you get choice. That's where change begins. If today's episode made you think about your marriage differently, please share it with someone who might need it. And most importantly, join me Monday, August 24th at 1 p.m. Eastern for this live call. The registration link is in the show notes. Come alone or come with your spouse. Listen quietly if that feels safest. Bring your questions if you want to. And I'll also tell you about the new group coaching experience that I'm opening in September and how you can be a part of it. Make sure you're on my private email community list because that's where I'll be sending all the information as soon as it becomes available. Until next time, remember my focus framework. Facts first, own your thoughts, choose your feelings, understand your actions, shape your results, and what you focus on expands. I will see you next week. Thanks for hanging out with me today on the Focus Podcast. If something stood out or helped you in some way, feel free to share it or leave a quick review. It means a lot. Keep showing up, keep growing, and I'll catch you in the next episode.